Okay, good morning class. Today we're going to have a new discovery for this morning. So before we start our discussion for today, we're going to check whose rows have a missing seatmate today. Raise your hand if there's someone who's not around. If there's none, that's great. Okay. We will have a game immediately while we're going to discuss our new lesson for today. So it is called 4 picks in 1 word. And in this game, you already have hint letters for each item. So everyone is open to have their guess. So you're going to write that on your notebook, and then we're going to check that later on after we unveil what is the missing word that we are trying to guess. Okay, for number 1. Okay, let's check your guess. Who comes to volunteer? Okay, that's good. The word is circuit. Next. Okay, let's check your guess. Who wants to volunteer? Okay, let's check if your answer is correct. Okay, that is source. Okay, now let's go to the third one. Who wants to volunteer? Okay, let's check your guess. So the answer is conductor. Okay, now let's proceed. What could be this word? Okay, so who wants to volunteer? Okay, let's check your guess. So the word is load. Okay, now we're going to the last one. Okay, who wants to volunteer? Okay, let's check your guess. So the correct answer is current. Now, these words that we unveiled a while ago has something to do with our new lesson for today. So what are the words that we have discovered a while ago? So it is direct current, circuit, source, load, and conductor. Okay, now we're going to connect these 5 words through a panel. So what is this panel all about? So this panel is a simple circuit. Now, as you can see, what are the words that we can find in this simple circuit? Okay, so this is the battery. Okay, the one, bulb, and what is the other one? Copper wire. What is the connection of these things to the words that we have discussed a while ago? The battery here is the source. The copper wire is the conductor, while the bulb is the load. How can that be that this word is connected with these things? With that, we're going to have another activity. So the game is unlocking of difficulties. You're going to match the words to its definition on each number. Now, everyone is open again to guess what is the correct answer. You're going to write that on your notebook, and then we're going to check that one by one. Okay, for number 1, the correct answer is direct current. This is what? Let's read all together. Constant stream of charges in one direction. So the keywords is stream of charges and one direction. Number 2, the correct answer is circuit. So circuit is, let's read all together. This is the paths for transmitting electric current or moving electricity. So the keyword is transmitting electric current or moving electricity. Number 3, the correct answer is load. So load is, let's read all together, an element which consumes electric power. So the keyword is consumes electric power. So this is something that consumes the energy. For number 4, the correct answer is source. Okay, now let's read all together. It establishes a specified amount of electric current in a portion of a circuit. So this has something to do with the power. So it has the power in the circuit. And the last one, okay, conductor. So let's read all together. The type of metal which allows the electrical currents to flow through it. So it means the source that has the power in the circuit and the load that consumes the energy of the source needs a conductor, which the current flows through it. Okay, now that we have defined the words that we have guessed a while ago, let's continue with our discussion for today. So, with our discovery for this lesson, we're going to have these guide questions that we're going to answer later on. But right now, we're just going to have your inferences. What could be the answer for these particular questions? Okay, for number one, what are the things needed to make the bulb light? For number two, how battery does affects the bulb? And for number three, how wire or conductor does affects the bulb? Okay, so do you have your inferences? Who can share that to our class? Okay, that's a good point for number one. For number two, okay, that's a good idea. Let's try to check that later on. For number three, who have any inferences? Okay, that's a great idea also. Let's try to check that later with our discovery for our lesson for today. So with that, we're ready now to go on our activity. So with our group activity, what are the things that we're going to remember? So who can give me one? Okay, let's cooperate. That's good. Another one. Let's participate. That's correct. Another one. Okay, let's behave properly. That's correct. And with that, we have to remember those things because you are the ones who already said that these are the things that we're going to remember in our group activity. Okay, so you'll be having your time to conduct the activity and you will be given activity packets to do what you're going to have on your experiments. Okay? So if you have a question, raise your hand and I'm going to help your group to assist you on your concerns. Okay, now, it's your time for your group activity. Okay, time is up. So now you're going to have your group presentation. Each group will be given 2 minutes to share their findings on what they have discovered on their experiment. Okay, let's leave the floor for group number one. Okay, that's a great work. Let's give them 5 claps. Okay, let's give the floor to group 2. Okay, that's another great work. Let's give them 5 claps. Let's give the floor for group 3. Okay, now let's give group 3 5 claps. Now for group 4. Okay, that's a great work. Let's give them 5 claps. And for group 5. That's another great work. So let's give group 5 5 claps. Okay. With your findings on your experiments and the ones that you have shared in the class, I hope that you find something on what are the possible answers for our guide questions a while ago. Okay, do you find the similarities of these activities with the questions a while ago? Okay, that's great if you find that there's a connection with these experiments with the guide questions a while ago. But before we go with that, we're going to have an application about an activity. Okay, whose parents work in the sea? A fisherman. That's great. How about a security guard? Okay, that's good also. A barangay tanod. Okay, that's a great work. And a policeman. Okay, so this work needs flashlights on their work. For the fishermen, they use the flashlights to attract the fish. And for the barangay tanod, the policeman, they uses the flashlight for searching things or for searching for something. So now on our application, let's read all together. What will you suggest to your parents when their flashlight turns off during their work? Okay, who can share to the class their answer? Okay, can you give me one? Okay, that's a good answer. So you're going to suggest that the battery might be busted. Okay, that's correct. Another one, okay, you're going to check if the light bulb is the one that is busted. Okay, that's a good point. So now, we're going to do answering our guide questions a while ago. So for the first question, what are the things needed to make the bulb light? Okay, you can give their answer. Correct. That is the battery, the bulb, and the wire. Okay, now, let's go on to the second question. How battery does affects the bulb? So what are your answers? You can give me one. Okay, that's correct. Busted batteries will not make the bulb light. And another one. Okay, that's correct. The size of the battery should be sufficient enough for the bulb. Okay, let's go to the third question. How wire or conductors does affect the bulb? Who can give me an answer? Okay, that's correct. Wire should be connected in the negative and positive charge. And another one. Okay, that's correct. Metal is the best conductor. Okay, now, with all the things that we have discussed and that you do a while ago on your experiment, what could be the topic of our lesson for today? Who can guess? Okay, can you give me one? The things to make the light bulb. Okay, what else? Things to consider to make the lights bulb light. Okay, that's a good one. So if we're going to rephrase your answer, you are all correct. Because the topic for today is conditions on lighting a bulb. Okay, so everyone, you've done a great job. So tap your shoulders and let's give ourselves a fighting clap. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, fighting! Okay, now, if you're ready, we're going to have a quiz. It's a 5-item test. So you're going to write true if the statement is correct, and you're going to write false if the statement is incorrect. Okay, so the statements are flashed on the screen, but I'm going to read it one by one, and then we're going to check your answer later on. Okay? For number 1, the bulb lights brighter when the battery is busted. Number 2, use a bigger battery for larger bulbs. Number 3, connect the wires on the positive and negative charge. 4, a rubber band can be used as a conductor. And 5, the bulb lights when wire is not connected to it. Okay, so let's check your work. For number 1, the correct answer is what? Okay, that's correct. For number 1, it's false. When the battery is busted, there's no energy. For number 2, use a bigger battery for larger bulbs. Okay, that's true. The battery should be sufficient enough for the bulb to make it light. For number 3, okay, that's correct again. So, it is true. We have to connect the wires in the positive-negative charge of the battery through the bulb to make it light. For number 4, a rubber band can be a conductor. What is the answer? Okay, it is false. A rubber band cannot be a conductor. What is the best conductor? Everyone? Wire, correct. And for the last item, the bulb lights when wire is not connected to it. What is the correct answer? Okay, that is false. Because if the wire is not connected to the bulb, how would the energy goes to the load or for our bulb? Okay, so who scores got 4 and 5? Okay, it seems that 90% of the class have a passing score. So let's give ourselves 5 laps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a job well done, everyone. So for your assignment, let's read all together. Find a flashlight at home and check how to make it light. Now, compare the circuit that we learned today to the circuit that your flashlight have and write your findings on your notebook. If ever that you don't have a flashlight at home, you can try to analyze and observe your phones, because your phones have a flashlight, or we use the flash of the camera, or some phone uses the term torch. So you're going to analyze how does your torch or the flash on your cell phones can be used as a flashlight. What is the process? What are the things that should be done to make your flashlight light? Okay, so if you have no questions for today, that's all for today. Thank you, everyone.